What if just 1% of your portfolio was all it took to build a seven-figure nest egg? It's a powerful thought. Everyone in crypto dreams of finding that one asset, that one calculated bet, that turns a modest portfolio into a life-changing fortune. Imagine checking your account and seeing a number with a comma and 6 zeros after it. Not from a lottery ticket, but from a strategic move into one of the most watched, controversial, and promising assets in the digital economy. Welcome to Generational Wealth, your pathway from knowledge to legacy. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a licensed financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. Crypto is volatile. Never invest more than you can afford to lose. Do your own research. Today, we're doing something different. We're cutting through the hype and the social media noise to break down the cold, hard math. I'm going to show you exactly how large your total investment portfolio needs to be for a mere 1% allocation to XRP to become $1 million. We're not dealing in fantasy. We're dealing in realistic 10x to 50x growth scenarios that analysts are discussing right now. Stick around, because the numbers might just surprise you, and they'll give you a powerful new way to think about your crypto strategy. Now, before we jump into the numbers, let's get real for a second. A claim like turning 1% into $1 million sounds a lot like the clickbait that plagues the crypto world, and you're right to be skeptical. So let's start with a brutal reality check. This is a mathematical exploration to help you become a smarter, more informed investor. The crypto space is full of stories, and frankly, some of them are just plain wrong. You've probably heard whispers that the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit is completely over, or that a spot XRP ETF is a done deal. Let's set the record straight based on what we actually know in September 2025. First, that SEC lawsuit. Ripple scored a massive partial victory back in 2023, when a judge ruled that XRP sold on secondary exchanges is not a security. But the legal saga didn't fully reach its conclusion until around August 2025, when both parties reportedly agreed to drop their remaining appeals. This gave XRP tremendous legal clarity, a feat few other cryptocurrencies can claim, and it set a binding precedent. This is a huge fundamental catalyst, but let's be precise. It means regulatory clarity, not an automatic ticket to a $1,000 coin. Second, let's talk ETFs. The market is absolutely buzzing. We've seen a flood of filings for various XRP exchange-traded products. In fact, Bloomberg data shows as many as 15 XRP-focused ETFs are pending with the SEC. Issuers like Grayscale, Bitwise, and 21Shares are all in the game. However, contrary to some rumors, BlackRock has noticeably stayed on the sidelines for now, focusing on its existing Bitcoin and Ethereum products. And while there's an options income ETF from Amplify in the mix, that's a different beast altogether. The market is optimistic, but as of today, no spot XRP ETF has been given the green light by the SEC. Not yet. So, why start with all this? Because building real wealth isn't about chasing fantasies. It's about understanding the real-world catalysts and then applying sober math to them. With that foundation of reality, let's get to the numbers. Alright, let's run the numbers. To keep our math clean, we'll use a starting XRP price of about $3. As of early September 2025, XRP has been hovering between $2.78 and the low $3 mark, so this gives us a solid baseline. The goal is simple. See what it takes for a 1% allocation in XRP to hit a value of $1 million. Let's start with our first scenario, a 10x from today's price. A 10x would take XRP from $3 to $30. For your XRP holdings to be worth $1 million at a $30 price point, you'd need to own about 33,333 XRP. At our $3 starting price, that initial investment would cost you around $100,000. Now for the key question. If that $100,000 is just 1% of your total portfolio, how big is your portfolio? The math is simple. Your total portfolio would need to be $10 million. For most people, that's a seriously high bar. A 10x is a phenomenal return, but for it to generate $1 million from a 1% slice, you already need to be in a very strong financial position. But this is where it gets more interesting. Let's move to our second scenario, a 25x return. A 25x takes the price of XRP from $3 to $75. To hit our $1 million target at $75 a coin, you'd need to hold about 13,333 XRP. Suddenly, The numbers are coming down from the stratosphere. A $4 million portfolio is still substantial, of course, but now we're in a realm that's far more conceivable for successful professionals, business owners, and dedicated long-term investors. You can start to see how leverage works. A higher multiplier on the asset means the initial capital required gets much, much smaller. Now for our final, most optimistic scenario, a 50x return. This is the one that really gets the imagination going. A 50x would send the price of XRP from $3 to $150. At $150 a coin, you would only need to hold around 6,667 XRP to see your position valued at $1 million. The cost to acquire those tokens today? Just about $20,000. And this is where the math really starts to sing. If that $20,000 represents 1% of your total investment portfolio, it means your starting portfolio size would need to be $2 million. This is the inflection point where the dream becomes a tangible mathematical possibility for a much wider group of serious investors. Someone with a $2 million portfolio is certainly well off, but isn't in the same ultra-high net worth category as someone with $10 million. Yet with a 50x return, both can hit the same seven-figure outcome from a relatively small, 1% strategic bet. This is the power of asymmetric returns. A small, calculated risk that doesn't threaten your overall portfolio, but has the mathematical potential for an outsized, life-altering reward. If you're getting value from this no-hype, numbers-first breakdown, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I focus on giving you the data and frameworks you need to navigate the crypto market intelligently. Go ahead and join the community. Okay, so the math works. But the million-dollar question, or in this case, the $30, $75, and $150 question, is why? What could possibly drive that kind of growth? While these price targets are speculative, they aren't just plucked from thin air. They're rooted in three major potential developments. First and foremost is the explosion of real-world utility and tokenization. Ripple has spent years positioning itself as the bridge between traditional finance and digital assets. We're talking way beyond just cross-border payments now. The bigger picture is the tokenization of real-world assets, or RWAs. Industry projections put the market for tokenized assets at a staggering $16 trillion by 2030. Ripple is actively targeting this space, building out institutional-grade platforms on the XRP ledger. We've already seen partnerships like the one with LinkLogis to explore using the XRP ledger for supply chain finance. If the XRP ledger captures even a tiny fraction of that multi-trillion-dollar market, the demand for its native asset, XRP, would have to skyrocket. The second major catalyst is institutional adoption, which is being supercharged by the regulatory clarity we talked about. With the SEC lawsuit in the rearview mirror, the door is wide open for conservative institutions to finally step in. We're already seeing the effects. The wave of ETF filings shows Wall Street is taking XRP seriously. An ETF is a safe, regulated, and easy-to-use bridge for pension funds, hedge funds, and asset managers to get exposure. While approval isn't guaranteed, the momentum is undeniable. This is how an asset goes from being retail-driven to an institutionally recognized part of the new financial system. The third catalyst? The natural crypto market cycle. Historically, after Bitcoin has its run, capital rotates into major altcoins. With its high liquidity, long history, and now legal clarity, XRP is a prime candidate to be a massive beneficiary of the next great altcoin season. Conservative analyst predictions for the coming years already put XRP in the $4 to $12 range. More optimistic takes suggest a push toward $30 or higher in a full-blown bull market. A 50x to $150 remains an outlier, but it's within the realm of possibility if all the stars align. Massive ETF inflows, significant XRPL adoption for tokenization, and a historic, market-wide cryptomania. So, we've covered the math and the catalysts. But there's one last piece to this puzzle, and it might be the hardest one of all: the psychological battle. It's easy to look at these numbers on a screen and dream. It's infinitely harder to actually live through the volatility required to get there. A 10x, 25x, or 50x journey is not a straight lineup. It's a violent, gut-wrenching roller coaster. We're talking 50% drops, multi-year sideways grinds, and moments of pure fear where you will question everything. The price you pay for an asymmetric return is enduring the psychological pain that forces most people to sell. Holding a 1% allocation sounds simple, but when that 1% doubles, it becomes 2% of your portfolio. When it 5x's, it's a much bigger piece of your net worth. The temptation to sell and lock in those profits will be immense. On the flip side, when the market crashes and your 1% allocation is suddenly down 70%, the urge to sell out of fear will be just as strong. This is why conviction is the most valuable asset you can possibly have. And true conviction doesn't come from hype or some guy yelling on YouTube. It comes from doing the deep research, understanding the fundamental case, knowing the numbers behind your thesis, and having a crystal clear plan. Success in this game isn't just about being right. It's about having the fortitude to stay in your seat long enough for your thesis to play out. The math is your roadmap, but your mindset is the engine. So, can 1% of your portfolio really turn XRP into a 7-figure nest egg? The answer is a clear, mathematical yes, but it comes with a huge asterisk. It all depends on two things: your starting portfolio size and XRP achieving some highly speculative, long-term growth. As we calculated, for investors starting with a multi-million-dollar portfolio, a 25x to 50x growth scenario makes a $1 million outcome from a 1% bet a very real possibility. For those with smaller portfolios, the math shows that while XRP can still be a powerful wealth builder, it's unlikely to single-handedly create a $1 million fortune from that 1% slice alone. But the real takeaway here isn't about getting rich overnight. It's about understanding the power of strategic allocation and asymmetric bets. You now have the exact numbers. You know that for a 50x to deliver that $1 million prize, you need a $20,000 stake, implying a $2 million portfolio. You can adjust these numbers for your own goals and your own starting point. This entire exercise gives you a logical, numbers-based framework to replace hype and emotion. Now you can watch the market and know exactly what price points and what portfolio size you need to hit your own personal moon. What do you think is the most realistic scenario for XRP? A 10x, a 50x, or something else? Let me know your price targets down in the comments. And if this breakdown brought you some clarity, make sure you're subscribed for more deep dives. For more information, visit our website at generationalwealth.biz. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.